Right, it's day two. It's raining. It's forecast quite a lot of rain today as well, so I don't know if we'll actually be doing much today. What we're going to do, we're going to take the lines off. We're going to clear this site here. We're going to get a weed membrane over the top, and we're going to wind down and level the nuts, and then we're going to call it and see what the weather's like. We've also got the timber delivery coming as well, so it might be a very short one today. If it is, I'll condense it onto tomorrow, but at the moment it's like Arthur's just about to arrive now with the timber delivery. You can see there we're on like a blind bend, so what we're going to do, we're going to try and get Arthur just tucked down there, Davey. Yeah, and we're going to drop the timber delivery on the drive just there. Jen's going to stand here and try and guide the traffic around him, because even though it's a little village, it is quite busy and it's a bus route as well. So we're just waiting on Arthur now. He should be just coming up the hill in a second. He'll either be keen to drop it here or not keen at all, one or the other. Well, if there's something coming there, stop this and then let them pass. Yeah. I know.
Every time I deliver here, you get views. You won't hear it. It's unbelievable.
No, you can see what a tight bend it is, and this is why we couldn't have the concrete wagon here yesterday either. So that's why we had to hand deliver again with the skip. He's going to have to reverse up there. We can't get it on the drive, so that's why I took the rubbish over. So it's going to try and unload this and get it on the drive now.
Hey, dear me.
It's a tight one and a half. For new straps?
Yeah.
Stop traffic while he's pulling his crane out. Stop, don't let nothing pass now. So obviously the high ab Davy stretches out, so if anything goes by, I don't need to crack it. Right, are you going to...
We'll have to take this lift first.
Right.
The reason being, we'll have to cross that one now to get round past this wall. You got any lift?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, Liam?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, but come round this side now. So obviously there's a lot of weight in that. Where you can drop it, Arthur? Just where it is there.
I don't know what...
You're going to have to get your full length like that, aren't you? Yeah.
Unless you double skin it at this end, Liam. If you don't put any skins there at all,
Okay.
put two at this end.
Right, hold it there.
Yeah.
Lift it up a touch.
Sorry, Liam.
All right, mate.
You all right to that?
Yeah, we're good. To me, Arthur.
Sorry.
Right, just stop them now.
Right, you ready?
Yep. Once it's on that direction, then he can go, yeah?
There's no risk of you falling in it, have it?
Right, you can go now.
Okay, Liam.
Yeah, I'm good. So that's a 4x3 timber pack. The cost of the timber quite recently has escalated a lot, so it's quite a lot of money just sat there. So what we're going to do now, we'll get all this handballed round the back so the customer can use his drive again. And of course we won't leave it there in there because it'll get nicked overnight maybe. Or maybe not, it's a nice little village. Yeah, the rods are in, it's still raining. I think what we're going to do, we're going to level the nuts and we're going to shoot off and do something else, simply because we don't want to get the tools out in this kind of weather because it's not good for them. So we're putting down a weed suppressant membrane, and before I go any further, somebody, in fact, loads and loads, go on, you two can carry on, it's fine. Loads of people ask me why we don't use post mix for the rods. It's simply not strong enough. You need a concrete mix. You can get 40 Newton concrete in a pre-mixed bag, but it's £7 or £8 a bag, so 2 bags and all, it's a lot of money. Either mix it yourself or get the concrete guys in, which is a little bit of a deal. So we're going to put the weed suppressant membrane down. The reason why I put this down is to stop any vegetation growth under the building. Now once this goes over, it'll be pinned down, stapled down, and that will prevent any weeds going down. The rods at this point of the build are obviously quite dangerous. If you fall over, you're going to take your eye out, so we need to take a lot of care. What we normally do is leave the 3 nuts on overnight, so if anybody falls on it, they're going to get a black eye rather than lose an eye. But at this point now, we have to take the nuts off, the nuts off to get the weed suppressant membrane over. What they'll do now, they'll just force it down on top of the rod. You stretch it out, because obviously if they put it down without stretching it out, then it won't actually be wide enough. You've got to watch that when you're putting these rods on, you're not going to fall down, put your face onto the rod. You want to invest in a good quality weed suppressant membrane. There's some other ones on the market, there's like a black fabric one, and in my opinion it's crap, it doesn't last very long. Right, so that's it, that'll go push down now. Probably easiest for, you're not going to fall on it, it's just walk it down with your feet, not push that one in, Jen. Also, by putting that down now, you've got a nice clean area to work in. Don't forget, watch day 1, have a look at the raffle. Some massive prizes available on that, and it's only £2 a ticket. It will be on sale Saturday on the official raffle website. I'll put the link on. And the tickets will sell out quite quickly. They have done the past 2 anyway, literally in a few hours. So if you don't want to miss it, get on with it. Right, winding the nuts down, where are we? John has determined that that is the highest one already, haven't you, John?
Spin these down and set my staff to it.
Right. Okay, so we've walked around with the laser. John will show you that working in a minute, and we'll talk about this in a minute as well. John has already found out that this is the highest point. Watch face. Watch face. I'll talk about this extensively in a minute and how bloody well engineered and good it is. We're going right down with them, John. Right. So John's gonna. What he's done best. Have I ever tightened it for you, John?
Where's this band?
I locked it off.
Starts like it's up.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. Like I say, I'll talk about that in a minute. Right, he's used the laser to find the highest point of the land. So if you think about land, let's exaggerate, and the land's like that. So that's the highest point of the land there. So them nuts want to be right down to the floor, so that when we go all the way around, we're level, and that we're not having to go back and lower them nuts or higher them nuts. So we find the highest point, wind them right down, and then we work off there. Jen, will you go to van and get me a level, please? There's 2 ways of doing this. You can use a spirit level, or you can use a laser level. Sorry, John. Yeah, no, I'll talk about it. So it's a spectral laser. I think it's about £700. It's self-leveling. It's got a staff on it. John will adjust this staff now. What he'll do, sit the bottom of the staff on the top nut, and then he'll adjust the laser. David, can you just see on there, look? Without blocking the laser, you've blocked it. And then once he's found dead centre there, he'll lock that off. He'll know that his nuts are that height, and then what he needs to do then is wind down the rest of the nuts till they are at that height. You need 2 nuts because the 2 nuts... Ooh, there's a right metal burr on there, look. The two nuts will hold the shoe and it gives you the ability to lock off against yourself. So there's lots of ways of winding these down. John, do you want to start winding them down and I'll talk about yours in a minute? Thank you. Right, we'll talk about the levelling of the rods as well in a minute. So a guy called Ronnie, who's on the Facebook page, he's a fabricator of some description. I can't remember what he said now, but he does amazing stuff with metal. He came up with this. It's stainless steel. It's a thing of beauty, it really is. It's engineered to precision. It's got a massive socket on. It's got a hollow tube up there as well, which allows the rod to go up there. It sits on there like that. And what he did then, he put it on the group, and there were some negative comments, but I could see exactly where this engineer had come from. And then he created this little bit as well, which goes in the drill. John's determined to beat me. Now, what you'll notice now as well is that our rods are slightly higher on this build. Now, if you watch day one, you'll notice that there was hardcore in the ground, so it was really hard. There was no benefit in going down to the full 600, so we've probably gone about 500 on most of these, which is why that isn't quite deep enough to wind them down the way we wanted, because they wouldn't be normally sticking out that way. But that's not a fault in it, it's just the way we've put these rods in. So what John's going to do now, he's going to go around, he's going to wind down all the nuts and he's going to level them off with the staff out. Dave, you just didn't wait laser for him, mate. Right, so if you watch him now, look, he's now, can you see the bottom of the staff, David? Zoom in on that. The bottom of the staff is actually sat on the nut. And he's winding it down until that laser hits dead level. And what he's going to do, he's trapped the membrane in the bottom nut, and that's why he's struggling now. Aren't you, John?
Yeah. Just hang on. Little modification.
What you want to do is you want to push the membrane right flat down to the floor, because any little fibres, it traps. Jen, do you want to start winding some nuts down? It traps in the nut. It's still trapping, John. And it becomes like, almost like when you put a fitting on in plumbing. Do you want me to edit this bit out, John?
There's a big like little
Is it? Right, John, just wind it up a little bit till you get perfect and then...
Go on then.
Right, David, back on. Right, so he sorted out his little bit of problem there. He's going to wind his nut down now. There, you can hear that solid beat, which means it's dead level. What he'll do now, he'll just wind the bottom nut up to meet the top nut, and then what'll happen then, we'll go around with a spanner and lock them off. Right, second way of doing this without a laser. Johnny, you want to go that way and I'll just sort this out. Look, can you see there, look, Davey? Yeah, so I'm well out. I'm sat on the nut there, so I'm going to wind them nuts down. There. Right, this is why this system is millimetre perfect. Right, watch that, Davey. Watch that bubble. Can you see it's out?
Yep.
Right, just look at what I'm doing to the nuts there. Just winding it up. Now go back to the bubble. Can you see the bubble moving? Yeah? Yep. Perfect. Right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to wind the bottom nut up to lock that one off. Now, if you're going to use a level, if the level is out and you don't know the level is out, what you need to do is your level's that way, take your level off, rotate your level, and then every time you rotate your level, you will correct the level if it's slightly out. So we're going to go around, wind down these nuts, lock them off, and I think that might be it for the day. So back to this. Ronnie made this. He's an absolute genius, and there's two parts to it. There's part for the drill there. You can do it by hand as well if you want, and there's a third part to it as well, which we will get out tomorrow. John's not. Have you seen it yet, John? No. The third part. I'll show you the third part tomorrow as well. Fast speed. Okay. Did you see that, John? Really? Right. Let's see if we can do that again. Granted, if that shit nuts, you're going to be crying. That's fast, isn't it? Right, Ronnie, thank you for that. It's absolutely amazing, and I'll see you very shortly. Right, John's rods. John puts his rods in with a boat level, which has got two benefits, really. It means he can keep his staff tight to his rod, which will aid in levelling them, because all he has to do is move the rod slightly like that, and he's a couple of mil out. So let's say the rod is leaning, let go John, is leaning a bit like that. To exaggerate it, it can be a couple of mil out, so vertically they need to be dead plumb.
Just another point about levelling the rods. This is the first rod where I started, and what you should do when you've finished levelling them is go back and check, even though you've already nipped it and it's all done, that it is still going to beep. I'll just show you. Because what will happen, and it has happened to me before, somebody has knocked the laser a little bit and it's re-levelled itself. So you get round the base and then this is no longer level anymore. So it means your base is all out. So if you go back to your very first rod and check that it's still level when you're finished, you know that nothing's moved.
Oh, they don't need to be, but it certainly helps it, and it also helps when you put the timbers on as well. Right, have you got your spanners to lock them off with? Right, get his spanners. Start locking them off, Jen. Jen's going to go around now and lock the nuts off.
Two together, they've been done.
Right, so what you need to do now, once he's gone round and got his nuts right, you need to get the bottom one on. Yep. Put the top one on. Right. The bottom one is tightening up. Look, you see the top one doesn't move. Then that will lock them both off together and stop them from vibrating down. You get it on the top first, do not move the top, get the bottom on and lock it up. Right, so that's the rods, that's the base. It's foolproof, it's millimetre perfect. Loads and loads of garden room companies are using this now. You can go down the road of ground screws if you want. Right, ground screws, you'll have less ground screws. They'll do it in less time. But the thing with ground screws is they're more expensive and they tend to put less in with bigger timbers. Therefore, you're fouling on the 2.5 height limit because you need the smaller timbers to stay under the 2.5. Anyway, you can do this yourself. It's DIY, except it's got a really professional finish because it's millimetre perfect. These are M24 galvanised threaded bars with galvanised nuts. What will happen now is a steel shoe will then go on top of that, like so, and then the timber will sit into there, and then that will get cut off and another nut will get wound down. But that we'll show you that tomorrow, because it's raining and we're going to clear off now rather than getting all the tools out and getting them soaked. Right, so that's it for today. I'll post this today because there's a bit to see, isn't there? There'll be a little short one for you. Tomorrow we'll have a better day now. It's supposed to rain a little bit tomorrow, but we should get the base in and start getting the walls up as well tomorrow. So please like and subscribe. Don't forget the video's coming out on, not the video. So please like and subscribe, and don't forget the raffle will be on Saturday, approximately about 9:30, 10 o'clock generally once day. I don't have the ability to launch it at an exact time. It's up to that company. But it'll be around that time and tickets will sell out. So look out for that. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow.